Guys of a Certain Age is brought to you by no one. Absolutely no one. Except these dudes walking down memory lane. Now let's head to the studio to see what they misremember next.
That lovely English voice can only mean one thing. It's the podcast that can't seem to find all its hosts in the room at the same time. It's Guys of a Certain Age in studio with...
Shirley.
And Jay Reed.
G'day, Jay. I'm actually also in Australia now. Cheerio, Jay.
Cheerios, indeed. See where my mind goes, right?
Yeah,
to the
right.
food, right
That's
to
you're
breakfast.
On the wrong podcast. This is not the Vitals and Vittles.
No. We're. But you should listen to that too, people. Since Robbie's not here to criticize me about having another podcast,
He'll cut this.
Probably so. So, are you enjoying the warm weather?
Yeah, it's nice. Yesterday was very nice. In fact, I walked around some. Then today seems to be very nice. A little cooler today, but still not bad, really. I mean,
Yeah,
it's really very pleasant.
It's one of those days where I can't decide, should I wear shorts and a short sleeve shirt, or will I be cold somewhere? So I kind of just went with light. But I was telling you coming on in.
I think the tank top and jorts were a good choice. Okay.
Well, that seemed to be what everybody on campus was wearing.
Yeah,
I drove through campus earlier this morning, and I'm looking at the students, as I was telling you earlier, and I'm like, okay, this is what I look like now. And then you look in the mirror, and there's no hair, and you look down, and there's a roll or two, and it's not from Ryan's.
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
So anyway. Here we are, Robbie list today. I have no idea where he is. I think he had to work.
Yeah, I don't know.
He just said, I won't be there. Y'all go ahead. And we didn't really check in with him, so I guess he's still busy.
Hopefully he's not sitting in the other studio going, where are they? This wasn't the week I was going to be out.
Well, communication is key.
Did he even respond to us doing this in here?
No, because you and I were texting off the off the group message.
May very well get a call. So that wasn't this week. Oh, okay.
Well,
and we're happens. On the eve, or not the eve, but on the cusp, I guess, of Guys of a Certain Age theatrical trip.
Field trip,
yeah. Going to see Hamilton this weekend at the Orpheum in Memphis. Jay,
I'm pumped.
Robbie, Art, and our spouses.
That's right.
Well,
I guess this is the first time that we've all gone.
Yeah. Jay, Melissa, Art, and Becky have gone before.
Yep, and so this time we added Bonnie and Robbie, I believe, because they missed Hamilton. They missed an opportunity to see him in London, so they're taking this opportunity to...
Are you going to take bets on whether or not Robbie will pull his phone out halfway through and be checking basketball scores or anything?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, if he does, he will be stopped. I was there just a few weeks ago for the Steve Martin Martin Short concert, and there were very clear signs saying, no pictures, no video, that kind of stuff, and... There were several people in our section, the same section we're sitting in, that had they were trying to record, and that usher was on quick. So he'll have to be sly.
Yeah, I don't think he'll do anything.
Probably, but maybe
anyway,
he'll behave.
Not like the movie theater. But yeah.
All right.
So y'all talked about Captain America last week?
We did. Yeah, briefly. Yeah. And you saw it. How did you like it?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I mean. Went with my son and my wife, my older son Will and Becky, and we all enjoyed it. Thought it was fun. Good to see. Gave it a look over there. Yes, we're still recording. I almost would have enjoyed it more had they not brought the Hulk into it. If it had been just a spy thriller.
That's one of the things that I mentioned that I thought there would be more Hulk, just based on the credit.
On the trailers. Yeah. You thought it was wall-to-wall Hulk, and it was just very much at the end. And I'm thinking by that point, why have him in it at all?
Yeah, more of introduction of character than a central character.
Yeah. So anyway, like I said, as always, leave the theater. Yeah, okay, and then get back, start thinking about it. Well, okay. It was okay. I still like Sam Wilson character being Captain America. I like the idea of Captain America being multiple people as the time goes by. I thought that was good. I thought the acting was great. I thought Carl Lumbly as Isaiah Bradley was fantastic. I always like Anthony Mackie in whatever he's in.
Right.
So I thought all that was set up really well. And of course, Harrison Ford's always going to be good. I'm still not 100% sure that Liv Tyler was actually there. I mean, to me, she looked like a CG thing when they showed. No, spoiler alert, by the way. Yeah. And I've seen there's people questioning that, but Disney assures us that she was actually there. Yeah, that's right.
Well, that was kind of our general consensus, that it was good but kind of underwhelming.
Yeah,
Not
and
not in the top 10.
Probably needed to be really good because they haven't had just a strong hit in a while.
Yeah.
Maybe the Thunderbolts will be that.
But I think
Fantastic Four, I think probably
both
has,
of those is based on the teaser trailers and the fake trailers and all the other trailers that I've watched. They all seem to be. I think both of those will. I see it as a rising. Like we're gonna. Maybe Thunderbolts will be a little bit better, and then Fantastic Four maybe will. So we'll see.
But I definitely want to see Sam, and I want to see the new Falcon as part of the new Avengers. I think that'll be good. But it's a hard thing to kind of come back. To me, it's a hard thing to come back from Endgame. I don't feel like they've really hit anything that's felt as strong as that.
Yeah.
Or that whole lead up to.
For sure.
That. Anyway,
all right. So
Geeks of the Week. I can go into mine.
Why don't you go first?
Okay, I know. I usually
Why break
do.
that tradition?
I know I always do, but this time it's kind of a segue because as we talk about Marvel movies and, of course, Disney movies, news came out earlier this week that Kathleen Kennedy, who has been the chief executive officer of Lucasfilms for 20-something years, 30 years maybe.
I didn't realize it was that long.
It's been a long time.
She's the only name I've ever known.
And perhaps she wasn't always in that position. But anyway, she, of course, worked with George Lucas for a while and then has been the chief guiding agent for several years, at least through the Disney versions of Star Wars. She's going to step down sometime in 2025, possibly the end of 2025. And a lot of people are very excited about that because they feel like she made some changes and decisions that weren't necessarily in the best interest of Star Wars. But the truth of the matter is that we've seen that Star Wars fans, Marvel fans, they've become so toxic that it's really hard to ever do anything. I certainly didn't like what they did with this latest round of the latest trilogy, and especially what they did with Luke. I know some people did like that and enjoyed it, but I just felt like I think we've seen some really good stuff. I think Mandalorian, Andor, those things have been really good. I thought Rogue One was really good. I'm still a huge fan of the Solo movie. A lot of people are starting to rediscover that. So I don't think everything Disney has been bad, but it is interesting to think about her leaving and who will replace her. A lot of people have the top three people in contention are Dave Filoni, who
makes sense.
Would make sense. Maybe Jon Favreau being that person, and then people said Kevin Feige, which he's doing Marvel right now. So I don't know that they'll want to pull him off of that unless they're thinking maybe switch him up would breathe new blood into things. But and then some people are concerned that if it is Dave Filoni, that Fellini, whatever it is. Filoni, I think is what it is, yeah. Fellini's the other guy that makes films. But that he will be so tied down by the business aspect of it that he won't get to be the creative person. So they're thinking maybe put Jon Favreau as the executive director person who handles the business and the contracts, and let Dave Filoni still be the creative guy.
Didn't they do something like that with DC? I mean, Gunn is the...
Yeah, that's what they did with what do we call it, the Peter Gunn thing. So you've got Gunn's kind of the creative guy, and you've got somebody else handling the business aspects of things. Yeah, so that may work. I think that might be a good role model to look at. But we'll see. Now, some people are saying, they after Ahsoka and it kind of, not going over as big as they thought maybe, Dave is not the person to put in charge of it, but I still feel like he knows Star Wars pretty well.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see that happening.
Yep.
Well, my geek is from another world.
Another world.
It's not a soap opera. No.
Yeah.
No. You'll probably do a podcast episode on that. We can invite Mrs. Reed back for that one. No, there's been some big casting news for the Harry Potter TV show on, I guess it's coming to HBO next year. They're saying maybe start filming this year.
Yeah.
There's a lot of speculation, but it seems that the main confirmation has been John Lithgow as Dumbledore.
Yeah, and I really like that choice. I think he'll be good.
I saw him kind of, I guess, in a mock-up with the beard and all, and he fits that part.
Yes.
There was some speculation that, the other two guys were, Richard Harris and Gambon were English, and he's not, but he's certainly he's played Winston Churchill with aplomb.
Yeah,
and he
he's just an
handle
incredible
that.
actor. He brings. I think he brings a little bit of both of those actors' characteristics to the role. Whereas
he
Harris
can be playful.
So I think he's a great choice. I think he's a great choice, and we've had plenty of British actors who have taken on the roles of traditionally American, or what you would think of like Superman, Batman.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem with that either.
And they've got the only concern, and even he addressed this in the conversation, was his age, because he's like 79 or something. He said, "I'll be 87 on the final wrap party because this is supposed to stretch out over 8-10 years." So, so that's obviously a concern, but. Even if something happened, I mean, we changed Dumbledore's in the middle of the movie series, so that's not a...
And I didn't realize he was that old. He does not seem that old to me. I mean, I would have thought he was probably just a few years older than I am, maybe early 70s. But I did see, it kind of made me sad to think this is going to define the last chapter of my acting life. But
he's choosing that. I mean,
well, and I think that's a great way to go. I mean, it's certainly a better way to go than not having any work.
Yeah.
So anyway,
well, it'll be. it's going to be defining, just like for all the actors that are involved in it. And I haven't seen any. Apparently, they put out a call, like an open call for the kid roles. Okay. And I don't think anybody has been named for that. It'll probably be 3 unknowns.
I'm sure it'll be 3 unknowns. Yeah.
For the main roles there. A guy. I'm going to say this wrong. You maybe know how to say it, but Papa Essiedu.
Yeah, I know, I've seen it, but I don't know how to pronounce it.
He's seems to be the lead candidate for Snape.
Okay.
Which will be really unique to see. And I didn't know this one. Sharon Horgan is up for McGonagall, Professor McGonagall. And I looked; she's quite young compared to Dame Smith.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that plays out. But I mean, I looked her up on IMDb. I couldn't really find a lot of things she's been in that I've watched. But I can see her.
And are these confirmed? These people?
These
confirmed?
are not confirmed. Okay. I think these are high on the speculation list.
That's what I've seen too. Is these are with who they pretty sure they'll get.
They keep popping up, so it's pretty good. The most interesting so far is Brett Goldstein as Hagrid.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's interesting. I wonder if they'll have if they have to change the language, if it's going to be an R-rated Harry Potter.
R-rated Harry Potter. But that one I kind of like.
Roy Hagrid.
Right. And then this is very unconfirmed, but I've seen it a couple of places. It's Cillian Murphy as Voldemort.
Yeah, I've seen that too. I think that's going to happen. Which would be interesting.
And that would be good.
Yeah, I think he'd be good too. Now, what is interesting, though, is this will be a series. And so you've got a lot of folks, I mean, especially with Cillian Murphy, who are just like hitting the prime in terms of their movie box office bankability. So you're kind of wondering, are they going to want to commit to this type of series work?
Right.
But I think a lot of people are doing it. And I think that they end up shooting these series in ways that, as opposed to what happened when you used to get on a television series that you really couldn't do much of anything else. I think they shoot these with schedules so they can get big names and still allow them to go do other projects.
I mean, obviously I'm not on that, haven't seen that side, but it makes sense.
I thought you were going to say not on that list of people. Okay,
No, definitely not on that.
You're not getting the call?
Not going to be Voldemort. But I can see with the way that things are filmed. I mean, look at Lord of the Rings. I mean, they filmed those 3 epic films all together, and then everybody's free. But you got 3 years worth of content. Same with the series, whereas it's 6 or 8 episodes now instead of 20 or whatever it was for a TV show back in the day. It just makes sense that they would be able to kind of maybe pack that in a little bit and give them time to do other things. And I'm sure they'll make plenty of money doing these. I mean, Harry Potter and J.K. Rowling's involved in it, and I saw Ralph. I heard this other day. I know I'm not pronouncing it. Ralph Fiennes or Ralph Fiennes.
Ray Fiennes.
Ray Fiennes. I knew. I was
well,
it
doesn't look like that. I mean, it looks like Ralph Fiennes, but it's Ray Fiennes.
Ray Fiennes. So he has endorsed Cillian Murphy. I think,
good.
As a good choice.
Good.
So for what that's worth.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
So I guess we're just a little over a year from that coming out.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. I don't know that I think it's actually necessary, but at the same time, we're so far removed from the movies now, time-wise, that it maybe serve as a good introduction for people that haven't watched.
Right, a new generation.
Yeah.
And I mentioned this.
I was going to say it may give through the series, may be able to explore some things that were left out of the movie.
Absolutely, that's what I was going to say. When I finally got around to watching all the movies from beginning to end, I read the book and then watched the movie. I mentioned that before. And they did a fantastic job with the movies, but there's a ton of stuff.
And especially as you went deeper into the books, like what's interesting is that the books aged and matured much in the same way that the kids did. So that the first book is a simpler story, and by the time you get to the end, you're a very much complex story, and there's a whole lot more happening. A lot of dark stuff that's happening. So anyway, so it's good. I love the books, I love the movies, but I look forward to seeing this too.
Absolutely.
And then I was going to mention we have a couple of obituaries to mention. Michelle Trachtenberg passed away at 39. Apparently, she had kidney problems.
Liver.
Okay, that's what it was. Okay, and she, although we've never really talked about Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I never really watched
either
it.
the series or the movie. I remember the movie. I didn't watch much of the series. I did see some episodes on it, but she was in Buffy. What I remember her from is when my kids were little. She was in Harriet the Spy.
Oh, okay.
And which was and that was a great thing. But talented actress, and sorry to hear that she's
39 years old.
39 years old, gone too soon, and also gone too soon at 95 is Gene Hackman, who just an incredible variety of roles and always great in whatever he was in. I thought, Lex Luthor, of course, is probably in terms of our audience or whatever, what he may be most remembered for, but Hoosiers is a great movie. That's one of my favorite movies.
And he was in The Firm, right?
He was in The Firm. Yeah. He's in The Quick and the Dead, a Western. He was in Unforgiven, also a Western. Okay. So, but have you ever seen The Conversation? You need to see The Conversation. That's a great movie. And he's also, I think, was in a movie basically playing the same character with Will Smith that I don't remember, but was kind of an unofficial sequel to The Conversation. Okay. So those are and Popeye Doyle in The French Connection 2. Just a incredibly Poseidon Adventure is probably the first thing I remember seeing him in.
Oh, it's been a long time.
Yeah, that's been a minute. While. Yeah, that's right. But just an incredible actor. And unfortunately, it sounds like we'll probably have some more news coming from his passing because he and his wife and his dog all passed away in what looks like carbon monoxide poisoning.
That's horrible.
Yeah, so sad to see that. Well, on that news, I guess we're not going to do regrettable because we said we'd wait for Robbie. Okay. So what's on the other side?
The award shows that we didn't watch.
Okay, yeah. Right after this.
All right, we're back, and today we're going to talk about award shows that we basically saw the highlights of.
Yeah. Did you watch either one of them? We're going to talk about SAG-AFTRA.
And the Grammys.
The Grammys.
Yeah, so Grammys, I was at my folks' house, and we had it on, and we're kind of watching it as we're doing other things. So we saw a few things. And the same with SAG-AFTRA. I was home and probably watched more of it than I did.
Did you really?
Grammys. Okay. But again, it was just kind of on in the background, and I wasn't like glued to the TV.
And I remember with the SAG Awards, I didn't realize they were on until late in the evening. Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, it was a live event on Netflix.
Okay. Who hosted Kristen Bell?
Kristen Bell, yeah.
Hosted
she did a good job.
Again, I've seen clips from it now, and she did a great job.
There was still some goofy kind of humor to it.
As always.
But it was, I felt like, from what I saw, it was appropriate and it was funny and it was goofy.
Well, let's talk about the Grammys first because that aired first, right?
Right, that's right. That's right.
So I watched probably maybe the first 30 minutes of the thing, and it's before they ever even up until the time they awarded their first Grammy.
Okay.
So after that, we turned it off. I can't remember if there was something else we were going to watch or what it was. But so I saw some of the musical acts. I saw the tributes. The group that they put together to pay tribute to the first responders in the LA fires.
Yeah, we didn't turn that on.
That was a neat thing that they put together for that. But the band was called Doors, which I thought, okay, well, it seems like there's already been a band called The Doors, and that would be a strange thing. But they featured, I think, Sheryl Crow sat in with them, and Brittany Howell, I think it is, who used to be with Alabama Shakes.
She was in something. She sang
with
with
Miley Cyrus on the SNL 50th.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which that's another thing. I guess we could talk about it. I actually watched both of the SNL pieces. Yeah, I watched both of those. So maybe we'll do another episode on that. But and then I saw Sabrina Carpenter.
See, she came out. She won whatever award she won. That was when I first turned it on. She got like pop album or something like that.
And she seems to be everywhere right now too.
She's the it.
Yeah, she is. And she was on the SNL thing, sang with Paul Simon.
Wow.
Opening song for the Paul Simon thing, and he turned to her and he said, "This really hit me." Said, "Oh, I sang this with George Harrison." In 1979, and she goes, "Oh, I wasn't born yet." And then there's a pause, and she goes, "And neither were my parents." And I'm like, "Dang!" So that was something. So, but she's funny. I mean, like I said, I couldn't pick a song of hers, out of a lineup, but she was very entertaining, and like I said, I think she's just kind of everywhere right now.
Yeah, she's. I want to say she was one of these kid.
She's a Disney star. Yeah.
Yeah. So, one more, but she's
following the typical Disney thing. I got to get out of this, so I'm going to do some kind of risque stuff with lyrics and things to kind of break the Disney mold. But anyway, she was. Her opening act was funny. Did you say you saw that or not?
Not on. No.
So it's almost like a old Broadway musical kind of thing. She's dancing downstairs and stuff, but she gets to the bottom platform. And it sinks down, and it looks like she's broken something, so she has to climb up out of it. So a lot of funny stuff in addition to.
That was on the Grammys?
Yeah, that was on the Grammys. Yeah.
Okay.
And I like her voice. She's got a great voice. But,
of course. Yeah. So, you got that part. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I was watching. Make sure I share this story before we get into some of the awards. But Lady Gaga was on there a couple of times.
Yeah.
She sang with Bruno Mars. I guess they had a song that was up for something, and maybe even won whatever award they were up for. I can't remember what it was, but pop duo or group.
Okay.
They won the Grammy for that. So then later, though, she was doing one of her own songs.
Yeah, she's got a new album out.
And it was kind of I don't know how much of it was live because she was in two outfits in two places.
Yeah.
So it had to have been a pre-recorded thing. But it was just odd. It wasn't unusual for Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
But it was unusual. My dad's sitting there watching it, and he got about halfway through, and it's just very, very strange. And he said, "Somebody ought to put those people out of their misery." And I thought, well, that's an interesting way to to view this.
He did not appreciate Gaga.
Yeah, he did not appreciate it. No. But I was kind of fascinated with the winners this year. A few of them.
Did you know them?
Not a lot of them. No. I think one of the awards I did see that I was kind of surprised, but I'm not up on this, is Beyonce. She won for the best country album.
Yeah.
And I'm watching that one, and I'm seeing Lainey Wilson, Chris Stapleton, Casey Musgraves. I don't know if Chris was there, but Casey Musgraves and Lainey Wilson were there, and they were showing them sitting at the table.
Yeah.
And it's like a polite golf clap,
that
they're getting when she won. So it may have been a great album. I don't know. I have not heard it, but I was like, really? She won country album over all these others. And then she won Album of the Year with the same album. And that was historic. I mean, she's first African-American to win the country award, and I think the first African-American woman to win Album of the Year. That's what I read. So it's
that's
historic.
Surprising to me.
Yeah. I mean, I may have misread it, but
I mean that hasn't happened before,
or at least in this century or something like that.
And I understand the album. What I've heard of it, it's good. She does a lot of collaborations with bona fide country stars. So Dolly Parton's on the album with her.
Okay.
And I think Jelly Roll's on there. So there are people that are current country stars that she is working with. And what she does is there's a lot of backlash about it. Why is you've got these people, like you said, that they've been around forever. Why aren't they getting it? But and I think that she's sincere in trying to create a country album, whatever. I mean, people go, well, you can't just come in and do a country album. Well, you can. I mean, you absolutely can. that doesn't take away from all these people that have been doing it for years. But
they probably said the same thing about Taylor Swift, and she went from
absolutely
country to pop.
They did, and probably
she can't come in and do pop.
mean, there's plenty of folks that if it's not Hank Williams or Hank Williams Jr. maybe it ain't country,
exactly,
or Willie or whatever.
Yeah.
And so they're just as against people like like Jelly Roll.
Yeah.
That's his name, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. Or Post Malone, when he came out, he's got a great album, and his album was really good. And but they're saying, these aren't country. Well, the thing is, they'll say that about the people that are in the business and are labeled as country artists. So it's taste, and we say the same thing. And I say that because I'm not necessarily a country music fan all that much. I very much was in the late 80s and early 90s. Loved some of those acts.
Same,
and again, those people were saying, they're not country at the time. Now they go, why can't we have something like Garth Brooks again? Or,
right.
So it's just a changing taste or whatever. My thought is, and this is true forever, if it helps bring exposure to the type of music you like, you should be for it. So if Beyonce is opening the eyes of people that might not otherwise look at some of these artists that she's doing duets with, I think that's a good thing.
It's all about what you like.
Yeah, it is. And the Grammys, the Oscars, all these awards never seem to go to who we think they should go to, right? Very rarely do. Although I will have to say, after turning it off, saying, I don't know any of these folks, I'm not going to know any of these albums, the Beatles won. And the Rolling Stones won, right?
The Rolling Stones won,
album?
The Beatles won, and Bob Marley won.
Oh, my gosh. So, yeah.
I mean, two passed away and one almost.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
I did make note of that. The best rock performance, the Beatles, best rock album, the Rolling Stones, and then reggae, the music from the film that came out recently
the Bob
was
Marley movie,
was what he won for, or they won for.
Yeah.
So you also had global music. Did you see that one?
I did not.
Okay, so there was a group, and I didn't know all the names, but Sheila E.
Yeah.
Gloria Estefan.
Oh, yeah.
And then there was a couple other ladies that I didn't recognize, but I mean, it was kind of like coming back in a way. I mean, Sabrina Carpenter, definitely not. Nora Jones won something for traditional pop. I love Nora Jones.
Me too.
Yeah.
She never blew up as big as I thought she should have because she was so talented. She
I
still
think
is.
It's just the style.
I think it is
just
too.
Not,
well, she herself, her fans call her Snora Jones because sometimes and she loves that nickname, but she just is so good. So good.
It definitely. Now I heard a song the other day that was a little more upbeat.
Yeah.
But traditionally, 10 years ago when I was listening to her stuff, it was it was definitely.
She's not covering a lot of AC/DC.
No.
Yeah.
It was definitely easy listening. Relaxed.
But it's always good stuff.
For sure. Now I don't know who Sierra Farrell is, but she won.
I don't either.
About 4 different things: American Roots, Americana Performance, Americana Song.
Okay.
I need to look it up because it sounds kind of folky. I kind of like that kind of stuff. Musical theater was Hell's Kitchen. I haven't seen Hell's Kitchen.
I haven't either.
I think it played, or is about to play at Ole Miss at the Ford Theater.
Okay. I forget about the Ford Theater. We need to,
yeah, so just be careful.
Mm-hmm.
Who else was here? Sabrina Carpenter, we talked about. Lady Gaga. Chappell Roan. Did you hear her little speech?
I did not. I've heard about it, but I did not actually hear
Best
the speech.
New Artist. And I think I had heard of her. I don't know, she had a song sometime last year that I heard somewhere else and kind of liked it. She's an odd person, I mean, for guys of a certain age, I guess.
Yeah.
But she got up there and accepted her award and then turned around and almost turned on the music industry and said, hey, you're not supporting your artists.
Yeah.
So you're not giving us health insurance. You're not taking care of us. You're kind of leaving us hanging out to dry. And it was an awkward speech.
Yeah.
Like she was reading it out of a notebook. And I mean, what she said may have been true.
Yeah.
I certainly don't know.
Oh, yeah. The music
that.
industry, I mean, it used to be, that artists could make a living, with making albums and selling and having stuff. Okay. I just had a text from Robbie. So, y'all recording today or recording? Yeah, we're actually in the middle of it right now.
Yeah. So I thought, that kind of was a big deal, or a lot of comment and chatter was made about that. And I'm kind of like, maybe that needs to be said, but is this the place? You know.
Well, and but when else are they going to have an opportunity to do it? I mean, they're making half fractions of pennies on the songs, and they have to tour now to make any money.
Yeah.
Album sales people are downloading and streaming stuff off Spotify or other free services, so they don't make any money off of it, or very little money off of it. So, and so I can, and I guess you wait till you have to win something and say something,
Yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
So.
I've never been big on the political speeches on award shows, and that kind of felt like that to me, but with a twist. So I guess that's kind of where I was coming from. Now,
I agree with you, yeah, but I'm just saying I think that's kind of where.
Well, yeah, for sure. So best score.
Okay, I remember who she is now. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Dune, Part 2.
Really?
Best score soundtrack. And then visual media, or I don't know, maybe best score soundtrack for visual media was Dune Part 2 for Hans Zimmer.
Okay.
Yeah, so not old school, but I figured that was kind of our geek connection.
Yeah, there you
to
go.
The Grammys.
Okay.
That's all I wrote down. I don't know if you saw anything else.
I'm trying to think if I saw anything. No, not so much on the Grammys. Now, have you? Okay, so the SAG-AFTRA. What? Okay, so SAG is Screen Actors Guild. What is AFTRA?
I'm not sure. Like I told you, I think it was. I kind of felt like it was the. I'm starting to sag, or I was starting to sag till after I saw my doctor.
Yeah,
because so much of that.
Yeah.
Let's see if we
plastic surgery and Botox.
What does AFTRA mean?
But I didn't want, like I said, I did not know that was on. And really the main things I've seen, the main takeaways I had from it were that Only Murders in the Building finally won.
Yes.
And Selena Gomez got up, and it looked like the entire cast of the show was there except for Steve Martin and Martin Short. And she said they're not here because they don't really care.
That was funny.
And she said we never win, and because they're always up against The Bear, which is not a comedy. I'll stand by that because I've seen enough of it to know, which only takes 15 minutes, and it's not a comedy. But for some reason, it always wins Best Comedy over these other shows, and so they were surprised to win, and so it was a great speech by them, and I was glad they were honored because I love that show. I love Only
And
Murders
then Martin
in the
Short won Best, male actor in a comedy. Of course, he wasn't there for that. So Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists.
Okay, I gotcha. So yeah, it's probably it's combined. So you have TV, radio, and movies.
That makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
Screen. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'm glad to see they got some recognition finally. Yes. And then the other thing I've seen, which you probably the deal, is Harrison Ford eating as
I saw that
shrinking
live.
Co-star. You saw it live,
yep.
Okay? As his shrinking co-star is making some.
They did this thing at the beginning where they focused it. They kind of ran the camera through the audience, and everybody's sitting at tables, with your crew, and they did this little speeches about how they kind of got into acting and what it meant to him. And I'm so and so, and I'm an actor.
Yeah.
What's her name? Gosh. So I don't know the lady's name that was in Shrinking. Jodie Foster did one.
Okay.
Michaela, somebody that was in Nora, I think, did that. I can't remember her name. They focused on her a lot, but they did three or four of those.
Jessica Williams is the actress that was on there.
So Jessica she starts her little speech, and Harrison Ford's sitting behind her, and he turns around and he's oblivious.
Yeah.
It seems. He puts a whole cracker, like half a cracker in his mouth, and then he kind of looks up like he's seeing the screen of what's happening, and he realizes what he's done and just turns around and then takes the
whole cracker
out
of his mouth. Yeah, that's the thing. He didn't keep eating it. He takes the whole cracker out of his mouth, and she says, and she realizes what's happening. She's like, I told him not to face the camera. Turn away. And they get real tickled about it. And you can tell.
She starts beating on him.
Yeah. But what's funny about this to me is, there's a lot of things that are funny, but Harrison Ford has been and continues to be such a curmudgeonly guy. And he has been for years, long before he was old enough to really be a curmudgeon. He has been, and so everybody thinks, he has no sense of humor or whatever. And it seems like to me, we're seeing more of that. And I don't know if Shrinking Shrinking is part of what's happening with that. I think that being on that series, which I've watched a couple of episodes, it's from the same people that make Ted Lasso. You talked about.
We watched the first season. We loved it.
You did love it. Okay.
Yeah. And I'd like to watch the second season. I just haven't yet.
Everybody that watches it, that knows me and watches it, says, "Oh, you ought to watch it. You ought to watch it." And I tell you what, I think the language took me out of it to a degree because there's just so much of it.
Yeah.
And again, I've said I'm not a prude, but I think that when you have it to such a pervasive amount where it just kind of takes you out of what you're listening to, to me that's too much. Maybe I'm the curmudgeon. I'm absolutely.
Well, I liked it too because Harrison Ford was in a very, very different role, and as funny as it is, all throughout. And you said Jessica Williams was her name.
Yeah,
she's great.
Yeah,
in it too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of great actors, there's a lot of good story, and I mean, spoiler if you haven't watched it, you realize that he has Parkinson's.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of real stuff going on.
Yeah.
That that touches real
We
lives.
probably needed to give it another chance, because I mean, if I can be around you and the language you use off mic, I mean, I think we all know Jay's like the Joe Pesci of the Joe. I'm just kidding, Miss Reed.
Yeah, that is
absolutely far from the truth.
Far from the truth.
That's right. But no, it seems like he's never been out of popularity, but he seems to be enjoying a special renaissance, that is going on. So that even though he returned to the character of Indiana Jones, which was an enjoyable film, but basically a flop in terms of the movie's success, he rolls with that because he's got this other stuff, that's doing.
And even in Captain America, I thought he was good, but
he's just doing that for fun or for the money. I mean, he said they asked him why he ended up doing this after all these years, and he said, "I saw a lot of other, friends of mine in the business that were doing it and seemed to be having a lot of fun, and I thought I'd do the same thing." So I think he did it because he thought it would be kind of a fun thing to do.
But the only concern I have, and I love Harrison Ford overall. I watched a little bit of we had the red carpet on before, and he was one of the people they interviewed on the red carpet on Netflix.
Yeah.
And he seemed to be stumbling a little bit with what to say. I mean, he wasn't as bad as some of the rest of them. And I was going to mention that a lot of the folks that were interviewed, it seemed like had trouble speaking.
Yeah.
I mean, they're actors. That's what they do. But I guess without a script, they were struggling.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
They really were struggling. Even, I mean, Ray Fiennes was even having trouble talking. Ray Fiennes, I can't even get that right. But then when he caught up and did he present an award? He presented an award.
I missed it if he did.
He didn't win. He was up for, I guess, the cast award for Shrinking, and then he was up for lead actor or something, one of those, and didn't win that one. But he did present one, and it was okay. He was reading off the teleprompter, and it was stumbled a little bit. So I kind of wonder how much longer he will go doing this and still be good at it.
Yeah.
And I hope he continues, and I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But I just felt like there was a little bit.
Well, he's 82. He'll be 83 this year. So, I mean,
But he wasn't the only one. Jane Fonda was struggling on the red carpet.
And I did see part of her speech.
She had a fiery little speech.
Which I thought was good. I mean, like I said, she seemed very coherent and in the moment. I'm sure it was very scripted speech.
Right.
I'm sure it was not something that was off the cuff than her accepted speech. So, it's probably... I mean, not her.
Then her red carpet, Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the speech, I'm sure, has been written before, and
sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
it wasn't a surprise.
It was a lifetime achievement.
Yeah.
It
wasn't a surprise.
Yeah. So, all right. Moving on to Kristen Bell, though. How was she as a host?
I liked her.
I like her
a
anyway.
lot.
I like her in just about everything she's in.
I didn't understand. They were making some jokes about some kiss that had gone viral in the show that she's in now. She's in a series on some streaming service.
Gosh, dog, we've watched it. No, she's in.
I haven't watched it.
We've watched the first few episodes and liked it. And I cannot remember the name of the show now.
Yeah.
But
they made a big deal out of that, and I don't understand it.
Andrew Brody is her co-star.
Right.
And,
so apparently they had a kiss that was a big deal, and they made a big deal out of that.
And she's also a podcaster in the show.
Exactly. Yeah. And I remember that part, and that's about all I know. But she was there were several of her previous co-stars, and they're all like bidding to be named as the favorite co-star.
Yeah. So did they have one? That's what I was going to ask. If they had, Nobody Wants This is the name of the show.
Okay.
So did they have? Was anybody crowned the?
I don't know. I didn't because we didn't watch the whole thing. But
yeah. So I saw Ted Danson, and I can't remember the guy's name. Who else was in Good Place with her? And then Marshall from How I Met Your Mother, who's also in Shrinking. I'm not remembering his name either, but he was in one of her first movies. He said, "I basically discovered you."
That's right.
Yeah. So
yeah. So one of the things about the SAG Awards that I didn't realize was that they give a lot of awards for ensemble.
Yeah.
Which I don't.
And I think that's what Only Murders won, isn't it?
Only Murders.
Oh, was it show? What did it win the show?
Let's see, I got it written down here. It was for the show, but like Conclave was, they listed that as the big award, but it was for ensemble cast for motion picture. And I read that like in the last 3 years, whoever's won this award has gone on to win the Oscar.
Oh, okay.
So that'll be interesting to see. And did you see Conclave?
I have not.
You definitely should.
Okay.
I completely agree with this award.
Where can I find it? Is it in theaters only?
No, we watched it at home. I can't remember where it was.
But it's on a streaming service now. You didn't rent it, or did you rent it?
No, we didn't rent it. We were able to watch it. But great cast, as we said. Lithgow,
Ray Fiennes is in it.
Ray Fiennes. There's an Italian guy that I didn't know, but Stanley Tucci's in it.
Oh, yeah.
Isabella Rossellini's in it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a tremendous cast. Yeah. But there was a lot of awards. Drama ensemble, Shogun. Yeah. Stunt ensemble, Fall Guy, of course.
Interesting. Did you see that, Fall Guy?
I did.
That's fun. I thought that was a fun movie.
Yeah. And then stunt series was Shogun. Of course, we talked about Life Achievement, but there was a lot of ensemble, and I thought that was kind of cool because you don't see that everywhere else. Let's see. We just run through them, or
yeah, sure, go ahead.
So, female actor, leading actor Demi Moore.
Okay, for Substance.
Substance, yeah, which I have not seen.
I haven't either. Although it seems to be racking up a lot of awards.
Apparently, she's in the lead to.
Yeah.
I guess this is sort of the. If you win the SAG award, you're pretty good chance for an Oscar. So. Now, she's one that clearly has had some surgery.
Yeah.
So that, there's that for whatever.
Have we had the Golden Globes yet?
I think so.
Yeah, I thought we had two. And so I think she won. I think she won that.
I think she did.
Yeah.
Just
when that used to be, we had Emmys, Golden Globes, and Oscars. And I don't remember the SAG-AFTRA Awards being something that was on anybody's radar to watch.
Yeah. Well, apparently it is.
Apparently it's a big
Same
thing.
with like the male actor. Timothy Chalamet won that for The Unknown.
Yeah.
Is that already out?
A Complete Unknown. Yeah, it's in theaters and probably on its way out of theaters now. It's probably it should show up on Max or something. Whatever parent.
I'm real curious about that one.
I'm too. I wanted to see it in theaters, and we didn't. But I do want to see that.
His was an interesting speech when he accepted. He's like, I know people don't usually say this, but I really want to be one of the greats. I really want to do well, and it wasn't cocky. But he was like, I could get up here and really be humble, but what I want to say is I appreciate this because it says I'm accomplishing my goal.
Yeah.
And my goal is to be one of the greats.
And I don't have a problem with that. If he came on and thought and acted like, hey, he'd already gotten it, that'd been one thing. But to very honestly say, this is what I aspire to do.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this and just be mediocre.
Right.
I mean, I have a problem with that. I like him. I like I mean,
he's so young though. I'm want to see the movie and see the Dylan thing.
Yeah. And I understand he does a good job.
I mean, apparently he won award-winning performance.
Yeah.
The very first award they gave was for male supporting actor was for Kieran Culkin.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that speech.
The Pain or something like that. So that was a very odd but funny speech.
Yeah,
and, of course,
I really like him a lot too.
And isn't it kind of funny that Kieran is now winning awards as opposed to Macaulay? Who was the big name for a while. And of course, his joke about how heavy the statue was carried on throughout the night.
Oh, really?
Everybody was, this really is heavy.
Yeah.
It was.
And then he said he throws Adrian Brody under the bus for like a long speech, and I don't know why I said that.
And then he barely started his thanks at the end of the 45 seconds, but it was funny the way he did it. I mean, I think I don't know if he was just surprised.
Yeah.
Because apparently he's won some other.
That's what I saw a thing with. Oh gosh, who's the guy? It's not Michael Cera. It's the other guy that is working with Kieran on this thing. He wrote the thing, and he's the one that gave the very impassioned thank you to Emma Stone. Was that on the SAG-AFTRAs or was that something else? Okay.
I know you're talking about. He played Zuckerberg in the
Facebook Zuckerberg,
movie.
And I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
And that's just terrible that I can't. But anyway, he says, everybody thinks there's a competition, and he says, but Kieran really doesn't care about winning these things, and so he keeps winning them, and we're all happy, just delighted that he's winning them all. So
I think he was the one that said, I didn't really even try out for this movie. I got the part because
Jesse Eisenberg,
Jesse's girlfriend, told Jesse I would be good at this, and he took her word for it. So thank you to whoever she was.
Yeah.
That was kind of, but that was a funny. So Zoe Saldana got female supporting for. I don't know. It was a Elvira or not Elvira.
No,
it's not Elvira,
it's not it. But it's the one, and isn't Selena Gomez in that as well?
She might be.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
I never heard of it.
It's a big movie, and I can't remember what it is. And
yeah. So male actor in the series Hiroyuka Sanada. Hiroyuki Sanada.
Oh, from
the
Shogun?
lead actor from Shogun.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was good. Who else we got here? Ensemble comedy, Only
Emilia
Murders.
Perez.
See, I never heard of it.
Yeah.
Never heard of it. Female actor in a drama, Anna Sawai.
Okay.
Also Shogun. She was the one, I believe, that was in
Godzilla.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So
we're gonna see a lot of her.
Yeah, I figured that. Yeah, which is okay with me.
Yeah.
Female comedy, Jean Smart for Hacks.
Okay. I never even watched that either. I've heard it's great. I just haven't watched it.
Let's see. And what about Baby Reindeer? Did you watch that? Jessica Grunning. I can't read my own writing, but Jessica somebody, whoever's the lead lady in Baby Reindeer one. I really Christine Milioti from Penguin.
Yes.
She was up for that.
Okay, I just started watching Penguin over the weekend.
Yeah?
Watched the first couple episodes. Yeah, she
is fabulous.
She owns that movie. And the thing is, and Becky didn't want to watch it, and I said, it's not a superhero movie.
Not at all.
It is The Sopranos with characters whose names you recognize from the comic books. But other than that, and I didn't watch Sopranos, but I can tell that's what it is. She is incredible. She's scary.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm watching the thing, and I cannot see Colin Farrell in that.
Oh no, and he won. He won.
I saw that he won. Yeah.
So, gosh, I was really.
I know I'm very late to the party on Penguin, but man, it is really good. And so I think y'all actually did a show on it. Didn't you?
I think Robbie and I did.
So
I watched it when it first came out.
I'm the J on this one.
Okay.
Hey, have y'all heard about this new show called The Penguin?
Well, I watched 2 episodes of Silo last night, so I'm finally getting on that bandwagon.
Now, what about Severance? Are you?
I'm caught up, I think.
We need to watch an episode. We're behind an episode.
It's coming out on Fridays now, right?
And we wait for my son Will to come home and watch it. And normally we would have watched it last night, and it's thinking Captain America instead. So we've decided we may go ahead and have to watch it, and then let him catch up, and then we'll watch it all together for the next one. That's an incredible show too. I'm sure we'll do an episode on that.
Yeah, so I started watching it last night, and I realized I was already caught up. So it'll, with all the activity this weekend, I may be like you, I may be watching it next Tuesday.
Yeah. I figured it's going to be a while. This weekend's got a lot going on.
But Silo was fascinating. I'm going to keep watching at least the first season and see.
It's a good show.
We'll see how that goes.
All right, maybe it'll win something. Maybe we'll be talking about it winning a SAG-AFTRA award at some point too.
Was there any? I don't know if anybody was even. Nominated for anything this time?
No. Sure weren't. Yeah.
I think so.
And Severance, I guess, would not have been. It'll probably be nominated next year.
Yeah, I didn't see anything for that.
So when are the Oscars? That's usually March, right?
I think so. And there was speculation that with the fires, they might put it off or not have it, but I haven't heard that.
Yeah, I can't imagine them not having it.
Yeah.
They may do something different, and they may use it as a fundraising activity.
Well, everything so far has been. Grammys
so
was,
I think
this was. I think
that's
SAG-AFTRA was.
I think that's the way to go.
Yeah,
with
this is fun.
Yeah, that's good. All right, good deal.
Well, I had a lot more to say about that than I thought we would,
as we always do.
Yep,
we filled up a lot of time. Who knows how much we actually said?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. All right. Well, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.